Hello and welcome to this evening's webinar, Supporting Your Students' Career Development. Hi, my name is Ann Garner. I'm the Executive Director here at Johns Hopkins University. Very excited to be here with you all this evening and discuss with you the plans and programs and services that we offer for your student here at Johns Hopkins University. So this evening, what we're going to do is we are going to walk through a number of different topics that I would like to discuss with you around employment trends to start with. Employment trends are very important as they help us inform your student how they can be most competitive and how they can be aware of some of the things that are going on out in industry. So I wanted to sort of share that information with you, as well as talk to you about our mission, a model that we're using called Epic Careers and what that's about. I also spent some time talking with you about the Career Academies, which is a new model that we have started to implement this year, and the handshake system, which is our job and internship system. Another thing that I would like to focus on with you all this evening is what skills employers look for. They really are fairly consistent over time, and so I'd like to share a little bit of information with you about that. Also, our first destination survey from 2015, we are starting to gather our data from our 2016 graduates, and we'll hopefully have that information available to you early in the spring of 2017, but for now we do have our 2015 data that we can share. And also how you can best support your student through the career development process. So we'll start first with employment trends. This information may be new to some of you, or some of you who are reading the different trends that are out there in industry. This may not be new for you, but I think for those of us who have been out in the workforce for a while, myself included, I've been working now for over 30 years, some of this information is quite interesting. So for example, the first bullet is all about freelancers. So, you know, back in the day, you used to be able to join a company and stay for 20 or 30 years and retire from that company. And while that may still be available to some of our students, I think for most of our students, they're going to have to get used to changing jobs, and changing jobs fairly frequently. In fact, I recently saw a statistic that between the ages of 22 and 32, students will change jobs 5 to 6 times, which I know for my generation seems like a lot, but for the generation coming out of college is really not. And another thing too is thinking about this idea of students being freelancers. So there's a new term that's being used now called the gig economy. And basically this refers to as students or candidates who come in and basically help solve a company's problem, and they stay for a brief period of time and then they move on to the next. And you can see the numbers, the overall percentages jump fairly high from 34% in 2015, and this is taken from a Ford study, to 40% in 2020. So I think for those of us in my profession who work with students, we really need to help them understand the skills and experiences that they have and how they translate in the marketplace today, so that after they graduate, they feel very comfortable with being able to move from one position to another if that is something that they would choose to do. If you're looking at the future fields, in other words, the fields that we are seeing coming down the pike, and I would say a lot of these are not just the future, these are the ones that are happening right now. We're seeing it in cloud robotics, genetics, cybersecurity, big data, healthcare, and corporate responsibility. These are big areas that I think is really important for our students to know about. Not that they necessarily need to choose these fields, but they need to know that these are the areas where we have employers coming to campus. There's a growing need, and so if they have interests in these areas, they have skills in these areas, they're going to be in a much better spot. And so I think that is part of the calculus that students need to understand as they are making decisions about the career direction that they want to head in. And certainly the third bullet we are seeing quite a bit, and that is companies coming here and seeking students as interns and using those internships as a pipeline for hiring for later on. So while back in the day we might not have immediately been connecting with freshmen, we are actually trying to do that more now. just so that they can get on their radar that there are companies out there that want to start to hire students, particularly after the freshman year, before the sophomore year. And so really thinking about internships as a freshman is something that's very important. Not that they have to get one right away, but it's something that, whereas before we might have put off until the junior or senior year, it is really something that they should begin to think about. And then also to think about the importance of building community and connections. And when we get to talking about our career academy model, that is definitely a basis for that model and something that we want to start to teach our students, the importance of connecting to others in your career field as a way, as a strategy to help to get you to your professional goals. And so here is our Career Center mission. I'll let you take a look at that and read that, and I want to focus in on certain key areas. The first area is really about this idea of lifelong career development. As I mentioned earlier, people will not stay in jobs for a lifetime now. They will move about. And so from our perspective here at the Johns Hopkins Career Center, we feel it's very, very important for us to teach your students career development skills, how to assess who they are and how they show up to employers, how to figure out how to become competitive in the marketplace in which they want to work, because each career field, each industry is different. And so teaching them how to do that is going to be helpful to them, not only while they're here at Hopkins, but once they leave and become alums and want to make those changes across their career. We also want to make sure that while they're here at Hopkins, that they have access to opportunities and experiences. And we do that through our employer and alumni engagement programs, which I'll talk more about. There are many, many different opportunities for your students who access employers and alumni here at Hopkins. And so we see that that is a very powerful way for them to not only connect with this network, but also be able to see the opportunities that exist, not only here in the Baltimore community, but outside in the different communities in which your student wants to work. So for example, many of our students have indicated interest in the DC area, in New York City, as well as the West Coast. And so we have very strong employer development efforts going on in those specific geographic locations. So how do we reach your student? How do they find out about all these different programs and services that we offer? Well, we started orientation. So for any of you who are freshman parents and had the opportunity to engage with us at orientation, we offered sessions not only for your student, but for you as family members as well. And we, as I said, we want to get this on your radar as soon as possible. It's very important for your student to begin to think about how can I engage with the Career Center as a freshman even if it's just translating their high school resume to one that they can use in college. That's a really good first step to begin to engage with us and then begin to find out the opportunities that we have here. Then I would move on to, we use our database Handshake as a way to connect with your student. We have employers that post opportunities every single day on Handshake. We also use that database to post events as well. So your student who has access to Handshake can get in there at any time and look for keyword searches for the different opportunities that we have available, as well as different events, which include workshops and information sessions from employers, and all kinds of different community events that we draw to their attention that we think would be helpful for them to know for their own career development. We do a direct email to students through Handshake every Friday, where we highlight for them key events and key programs and services that are taking place here on the Homewood campus. This is a great way for your student to find out what is going on, particularly what's coming up the next week. So I would encourage you to encourage them to be on the lookout for that communication. We also know that your students spend a lot of time in the classroom, and so we have very strong relationships with faculty in both the Whiting School and the Krieger School. And so we communicate many of the things that we do with faculty, and so faculty are also a great resource that we use to getting information out to your student. as well as our student organizations. So we have over 300 student organizations here on the Hopkins campus. Many of them are affiliated with a particular interest area or a particular career interest. And so we see a very strong connection between those organizations and our office, and we try to do a lot of partnering with them to get our message out to students to help prepare them for getting ready for internships or getting ready for that first job out of college. So I mentioned in the initial list of topics that I was going to talk to you about our model of epic careers. So oftentimes we find that students might come in with a resume and identify that, hey, I've been online and I've searched for all these different opportunities and I haven't heard anything. Well, quite honestly, that's really not an effective job search. It's very important to follow a process in terms of helping you to identify opportunities. And so we're using a strategy that we call EPIC, or Explore, Present, Identify, and Connect. And basically what that refers to is exploring is really helping your student figure out what their skills, interests, personality, and values are, because those are all important components of helping a student figure out which careers would be a good fit for them. And if they skip that part of the process, they may end up in a career that they're not happy in. So that is a very important first piece. So we start with that, and then we go to present. And present is all about how do you present information about yourself to an employer, whether that's through a resume or through a cover letter or whatever documentation an employer is looking for. It's very important that it be targeted and that it be specific to that particular industry. And so we guide our students in helping them prepare themselves in the best, most competitive way possible. The third step is identify, and so oftentimes our students have very brand-oriented employers in their heads around who they want to work for. But in point of fact, it's really the small and medium employers that are doing the most hiring right now. So we want to help your student figure out ways to research the employers who are actively recruiting either on our campus or are in areas where we may not have strong employer engagement levels, but where your student may want to work, because there are definitely strategies that they can use, and we are here to help them figure out how to identify who those employers are and how to make strong connections with them. Which leads me to my last point, which is connections. And so for many of you out there, I'm sure that this is not news. Having those strong relationships with alumni and employers are very important, and we want to teach your student how to connect with these folks in a very appropriate way, how to teach them a proper etiquette and communication skills in terms of how they connect with these folks, and the ways in which they communicate their expectations and the type of information that they're looking for. So using this model, we feel like we can be very effective in helping your student move forward with their career development. Finally, I want to show you the different ways in which we interact with your student. You can see here different pictures, and these are meant to represent those different modalities. So whether it's one-on-one advising in our offices, group work, which is really scaling up our services, offering resume workshops, job search strategies, and those types of things. Things where students have a common area of concern, and so we can offer them programming and information that will help them reach their particular goal. We also have peer advisors who help our students as well, who are trained in resume writing, cover letter writing, who can be a support to us here in the office. And so that information or that resource that we use with students has been very effective as well. And then workshops. So whether it is partnering with a student group or partnering with a faculty member, bringing employers in, we have ways in which we offer content that goes beyond resumes and cover letters and interviewing that really helps prepare your student from an industry-focused way. Which leads me right into my next slide, which is all about our career academies. And our career academies are something new that we are offering this year. Career academies are our industry-focused model, which we have started to roll out this year. I can tell you that coming from two different institutions before I came to Hopkins, this model is nothing new to me. I think this is one of the reasons why I was selected for my role. I think I mentioned in the beginning that I'm new to Hopkins. I've been here about 5 months. And one of the things that I did in my 2 previous roles was roll out these types of industry-focused models at 2 other institutions. This is something that's being done in higher ed right now as a way to help prepare students to connect with employers and alums in the industry in which they want to work. So at Hopkins, we've decided to label our groupings career academies, and you can see the definition there. They are communities of students, faculty, alumni, employers, and families aligned around helping students connect their academic experience to a professional pursuit. And so you can see we have 6 different academies there. And what we've done is we've decided to roll out this groupings based on the time frame in which each of these areas tends to recruit. So for example, in the month of September, consulting and finance industry organizations are here on campus recruiting your student. Literally, as your student is stepping onto campus, we have finance companies who are here recruiting them. And we were doing actually a lot of work over the summer with those students who had expressed an interest in finance to help get them ready. And so the 3rd week of September, we did something called Finance Academy Week, where we provided information to your students using our EPIC model of explore, present, identify, and connect to provide information to them about careers in finance. So for example, on the first day of the Finance Academy Week, we actually had a group of 60 students who attended an event about exploring careers in finance, and it was actually a peer-hosted event where we had 6 graduating seniors who had job offers in hand sitting in the front of the room talking with those 60 students about how they explored careers in finance, the types of internships they got over the course of their time here at Hopkins, and how they then parlayed those different experiences into a full-time job offer that they had in hand in that moment. That is the type of offering, the type of programming that we want to offer to all of our academies so that your student is well prepared when they are looking for internships as well as when they are looking for full-time opportunities while they're here at Hopkins. So I mentioned that finance and consulting, where we did the Academy Weeks for them in the very beginning of the year, because those are when those companies are here. We intend to do a Government Academy Week the 3rd week of October, because government tends to recruit very early on in the season for positions for the summer. And we've decided to roll out the nonprofit part of that academy in the spring because that is when they tend to recruit. We will be offering a Health Sciences Academy Week in early November. The STEM and Innovation Academy we will be offering in February in line with Engineering Week, which is the 3rd week in February. We will be partnering with the Whiting School and rolling out that programming. And then Arts, Media, and Marketing will be offered towards the end of March. Now there will be opportunities for your students who are engaged in these academies where the programming weeks don't occur until next year, until 2017. There will be opportunities for your student to attend employer events, to engage with a career coach who can provide them support in that academy, to attend events that the university is hosting where they can learn more about what it is to work in that industry. And those events and those services will be tagged in or labeled in Handshake as events for that academy. But we feel it's really important for students to also understand the recruitment timeline for these different industries, which is why the Academy Weeks are being positioned across the time spectrum, if you will, starting this semester and rolling into next semester. based on when these companies tend to recruit. Now, if you'd like more information, there is more information on the JHU Career Center website. I would encourage you to go there. And as you go there, one of the things that you will see is the list of programming weeks, which I've just put the slide up that has that information there. And as I said, there are other opportunities for your student to engage with these academies. And also, in answer to questions that I've heard before, students can engage with multiple academies. So for example, if your student is not sure, if they're on the fence as to whether they want to be in one field over another, we do have an exploration component for each of these academies, and they are welcome to attend multiple academy events until they feel like they found the one that is the right fit for them. So I would encourage you to encourage your students to attend multiple events until they feel that they have found a space that is a good fit for them, their degree, their experience, and their skill set. This next slide I'll show you is some examples of an academy in action. So I mentioned to you that Finance Academy Exploration event, and on the left-hand side of your screen you will see the picture that I took from that event showing the 60-some-odd students in that space who were listening and asking questions of our panelists, those 6 students who had job offers in hand in the front of the room. And then the picture on the right is a networking event also for students in finance that week. And these are pictures of them talking with alums who work in the field of finance, getting information and finding out about, what would help them be most competitive, what would be some good things for them to be doing to prepare for internships or prepare for full-time job opportunities. So wanted to give you sort of a visual of what that looks like, so that you could kind of see what we envision as we put these academy programs and services together. So how do employers recruit on campus? A lot of times I hear parents talk about the career fair, that as if that is the only way in which employers recruit. So I want to share with you that we have a career fair scheduled for September 29th. We anticipate over 85 employers who will attend that career fair. And we anticipate a lot of your students will come to that. And I know that we have a wide diversity of employers who will be at that career fair. But I will tell you, for as many employers that we have at that fair, we have way more employers who will do information sessions, who will do networking events, and who will put opportunities on Handshake, and who don't feel that a career fair is the right way to recruit. So one of the things that we'd like to get across to your students is the importance of really looking beyond the career fair. The career fair is a great opportunity to connect with employers, but it is certainly not the only way to connect with employers. And so I'm putting this list of different opportunities up there because these are the places where we direct employers to connect with your students. And I will tell you that oftentimes it's those more intimate sessions like networking events and information sessions and working with the student org that employers would prefer to do than coming to a big career fair where there are a lot of people. They're talking to a room full where it's very loud, it's very noisy, and they can't necessarily really hone in on the type of candidate that they're looking for. And so it's very important for your student to really think past the career fair and look for these other opportunities that we have listed in Handshake. The Parents Council, who's really supported and pioneered this Parents Internship Network, has been incredibly helpful to us in identifying opportunities available through organizations where we have Johns Hopkins parents, and we have those opportunities identified in Handshake for students to apply to. And also the Alumni Association has recently started an Alumni Internship Connection where alums have brought to our attention internships in their companies, that we have tried to connect students to as well. So these are two programs that are available to your students through Handshake, and are ways in which we are connecting our stakeholders with our students, and really helping to get that Johns Hopkins name out there to a wide variety of our employers. So I showed you 6 different industry areas for the academies that we will be rolling out this year into next, and I wanted to give you a sense of who will be coming to our career fair. We have a wide variety of employers in each of the 6 areas that I'm going to show you. These are the ones, a sampling rather, of the ones who are coming to the fair, but just know that we have relationships with many more employers than the ones that are listed here. So on the left you see for arts, media, and marketing some sample of employers. We have the ones on the right for consulting. Continuing on, here are some sample of employers that we have that recruit actively here on campus for the fields of finance and for the health sciences. In addition, these are the companies, a sampling of the companies who will be coming to our fair, from nonprofit and government, and from science, technology, engineering, math, and innovation. So you can see that we do have a wide variety of organizations that recruit at our fair, but as I mentioned, we have way more who post opportunities in Handshake and do come here for networking events and working with student organizations. But I thought that it might be helpful for families to see the types of companies that do come here to the Hopkins campus. These are the events that we are offering during our career fair week. We have a Dress for Success drop-in location so that students can see what's expected for them to wear during a career fair. We have a workshop on how to work a career fair, so how to create your personal pitch, how to actually shake an employer's hand, and connect with them in a way that is meaningful to an employer so that they can really get a conversation started. We'll be offering a resume clinic to your students that Tuesday to provide them 10 to 15 minutes at a time with an employer, an alum, or a member of the Career Center staff to review their resume so that they are well prepared when they go to the fair on Thursday. In addition to that, you can see other what we call Perfect Your Pitch sessions, so opportunities for students to practice their pitch with members of the staff, as well as a sampling of information sessions that we have coming to campus that week. And then finally, on Thursday, September 29th, we are offering our career fair from 11 to 3. So this is the type of programming that we do for our students, getting them ready for a career fair, and this is the career fair that we are offering in the fall. Now, I will mention to you that we do partner with several universities in the Baltimore area to offer a spring fair, and that fair will be offered towards the end of February on the Notre Dame campus, and we will be busing the students from the campus here at Johns Hopkins and Homewood to Notre Dame to provide students an opportunity to attend this fair, which is hosted by a number of the Baltimore area schools. In addition, we have a consortium arrangement with a number of private schools in the Northeast to allow your student to attend career fairs in Boston, New York, and the DC area during the January break. The information on those fairs is posted in Handshake. I don't know that all the employer information is listed there yet, but it will be as we get closer to January if your student wanted to attend one of those fairs. As I said, this is a consortium arrangement that we have with a number of private schools in the Northeastern corridor, and so if you live in the Boston, New York, or DC area, certainly your student is welcome to attend one of those fairs in early January. So what types of skills do employers want? What are they looking for from our students. I think this is really important for us to think about, and I often show this slide to students so that they can begin to think about the types of things that they have on their resume. So I'm just going to put up all of the bullets all at once so you can see them. This probably, especially for any of you who are actually involved in recruitment for your companies, should be of no surprise to you. I'm a member of an organization called the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and NACE every year goes out and surveys employers and asks them, what are the top 5 skills that you look for from students when you are recruiting? And by and large, these are the top 5. They change sometimes. Usually it's the order in which they show up, but primarily they stay the same. And this is the list of skills. And so one of the things I try to get students to understand is really these skills transcend major. They transcend college here at Johns Hopkins University. So I encourage your student to look for opportunities to build these skills, whether in the classroom, through an internship, or through working at a student org, or through volunteering. It's so important for them to be able to demonstrate these skills not only on their resume, but be able to respond to questions about how they have demonstrated these skills when they are being interviewed. So I thought I would show this to you to be thinking about, your students' ability in each of these areas and how you might be able to coach them to obtain these types of skills or to work harder in terms of developing these skills so that they have something to talk about on both their resume and during an interview. One other quick thing I will mention is that industry-specific skills are also very important, and I don't have slides for each of the academies, but one of the goals for each of the academies is to provide industry-specific information to your student about how they should be developing critical skills for specific industries that go beyond the skills that are listed here. And so the academy programs and the academy events will be ways for your students to engage with employers and alums to learn that information so that they can ensure that that type of skill that they need to develop for a particular field is also included on their resume, and they're looking for opportunities to develop that either here on the Hopkins campus or through an internship as they are progressing through their career here at Hopkins. So don't want you to leave here thinking that we're not really focused on them developing targeted industry-specific skills as well as these more broad-based skills that employers say that they're looking for. So the next few slides are about our first destination survey. So I wanted to take them a little bit at a time. This is the knowledge rate for both the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences and the Whiting School combined. You can see that 48% of those students who responded to our survey indicated that they had found full-time employment or paid public service, and 34% of our students indicated that they were going on to graduate or professional school. So one of the things I want to just make quick note of is the 34% going on to graduate or professional school. That is a very high number relative to other institutions with whom I'm familiar. Usually that number for other institutions is in the teens, anywhere between, I'd say, 13 and 17%. At Hopkins, it's incredibly high, and I think that just speaks to the fact that Hopkins has a reputation and a brand for being a research-based institution. And I think that that message is being communicated to your student in a very positive way, and your students are being encouraged to consider careers where they will be using research skills, in which case graduate school or professional school makes a lot of sense. And so because of that, our numbers focused on full-time employment are much lower than, I would say, other schools of comparable size, comparable type, i.e. private versus public. I think when you look at our peer institutions, that number is probably a little bit lower than others. But as again, I think it's just indicative of the fact that Johns Hopkins University is a very focused research-based school, and a lot of our students come here for that reason and continue with their education because research is a very important skill set for them, and they want to continue to study in their field. The 12% you can see there includes fellowship, military service, and unpaid public service, and the 6% are actively still job searching. So that makes up our first destination survey, and then you can see the top 3 locations. And so when I look at those top 3 locations, Maryland and DC, New York, California, I think it's really important to consider that because our students have indicated this is where we're going, this is where our interests are, my team that is focused on employer development, that is where their employer development efforts are focused. Now, this isn't to say that we haven't identified other locations to begin looking at, to begin exploring, but because my resources are tight right now, I would say that primarily in regard to employer development, this is where my team is primarily focused in developing employers, because this is where our students say that they are most interested. The top 5 fields of employment, so of that 48% who indicated that they did have full-time employment, 18% were in engineering and IT, 18% science and research, 17% business services and consulting, 14% financial services and investment banking, and 6% education and teaching. And the remaining percentages I didn't put up there because they were very small and very finite. But I think you can see kind of the interest areas of our students and kind of where they're ending up. And then finally, this slide focuses on the graduate school, that 34% of the population. You can see many of them go on into engineering and computer fields, followed by medicine and public health, and also biology and physical sciences, and then finally social sciences is 6% at the end. On the far right-hand side of that slide, you can see the top 6 institutions where our students end up, and when I say top 6, I mean that in terms of frequency. So the primary institutions where our students end up are Boston University, Columbia, Georgetown, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and the University of Pennsylvania. So that gives you an idea for those of you whose students are thinking about going on to graduate school after undergrad. These are the top institutions that the class of 2015 reported. Okay, so I'm getting towards my last slides here, and so what can you do to support your student? Well, I think primarily the things that you're probably already doing, which is listening. Students want to be heard, they want to be able to vent, they want to be able to talk through their issues and concerns, and I think more than anyone else, more than me, more than my team, more than the faculty here, more than employers, they listen to you, they listen to their family members. And so I think any guidance that you give them in terms of referring them to resources here at Hopkins, referring them to your connections, if you have connections in a field that they're interested in, I think that that is very important as well. And just really encouraging them that if they change their mind, they change their major, they want to move in a different direction, we are here to meet them where they are. That's kind of my mantra. A student who comes in here at 17 or 18 years old may feel like they know exactly what they want to do, and then after taking a class or after experiencing a particular student organization, they change their mind. They need to be encouraged because that's what college is all about. It's about exploring, it's about figuring out who they are and what their goals are in terms of where they see themselves professionally or where they see themselves after Hopkins if they would like to go into graduate school. And so having you as a resource, as an asset, as someone who can refer them is really, really helpful, and just listening to them as well. So I want all the parents and all the families to know out there that the Career Center is here for your student. We do offer many different ways for your student to connect with us, whether it's through our drop-in hours, our one-on-one appointments, the workshops we offer, the information sessions with employers, our different networking events, our different Career Academy events that we're now hosting. There are many different ways in which your student can interact with us. And so I would encourage you to encourage them wherever they are in the career development process. We have something here for everyone, and so I would encourage you to have them connect with us. If anyone on the webinar has questions following the webinar, I would encourage you to do one of two things. One is, if you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to send them to career@jhu.edu, which is here. And we will get that question to the appropriate staff member. The other thing is, we are just about to start Family Weekend in another week or so, and so I would encourage you, if you are coming to Family Weekend, we do have 2 information sessions that we are doing on the Saturday of Family Weekend. I would encourage you to attend one of those. If you are able to be here on the Friday of Family Weekend, we're doing a book read event called Life After College. If you haven't read the book, it's okay. You could still come and have a conversation with the staff about what they should be doing while they're in college to prepare for life after college. And so I think those opportunities during Family Weekend would be a wonderful experience for you to learn more about the Career Center and the things that we do for your student. And so I'd like to close the webinar now and look forward to an opportunity to talk to all of you again very soon. Thanks so much.